Welcome to Season 8 of Paper Talk,
where we will explore how to build a creative community that fuels your art and your business.
Hi, I'm Quinn Nguyen of Pink & Posy.
I'm Jessie Chu of Crafted to Bloom.
And I'm Sarah Kim of Handmade by Sarah Kim.
This season is all about connections.
We'll share stories, strategies, and collaborations that strengthen your own community.
Tune in every other Thursday for new episodes.
Thanks for joining us today, and be sure to follow Paper Talk Podcast. Hello. Welcome to another episode of Paper Talk Podcast. We are so excited to have you here this week. We actually have a special guest with us today that actually Sarah met when she went to Japan and attended the Silhouette Summit. And I would love to introduce you to Karina Galindo of Crafty Kari. Welcome to our show.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me.
Hi, Kari.
All right, Sarah, give us a proper introduction about Karina. How did you meet her?
I was so excited to choose my guest, and it was going to be Karina because I actually just hung out with her recently. I found out that she lives like literally within 30 minutes from me. So I was like, we need to hang out. She does specialize in content creating, but does all sorts of different crafts. She's also made paper flowers too. I've seen some paper flowers in the back of her craft room as well. But yeah, I think, do you specialize in like t-shirt making and like cups and things like that? I think I've seen that on your, like seriously everything. Embroidery. I think I've seen you do embroidery recently, but I love it because she has really engaging content and I don't know, we like hit it off, I guess, more recently. I know that she was there at the previous Silhouette Summit, but she just had a baby. So I don't think she was out and about during that time. I'm surprised you even made it to Hawaii. But Japan was so much fun. And we actually ended up being on the same like taxi ride to go to the office. So yeah, we were able to catch up and we're like, oh my gosh, we have to hang out when we get back home. And so once I saw her recently, I was like, oh, can you come on my podcast, please? Just to talk about anything, that we enjoy. I mean, like we can go on for days talking about just business. So yeah. Hi, Karina. Like, I don't know. Do you want to do?
Hi, thank you for having me. Yeah, it's so funny that we only live 30 minutes away from each other, but I think the first time we met, we both did attend Silhouette Summit last year in Hawaii, but I was still nursing my baby. And so any free time I had, I would run to the room to go, feed her. So I didn't get much time to socialize versus this year. She's a little older now and my husband went with me. So I had a little more free time to actually get to know a lot of the creators there. But it's so funny because the first time we met in person was at the Roland Brand trip, which was in Irvine. And then we met again in Japan. But I'm like, we live 30 minutes away from each other. Why are we meeting everywhere else?
I know. We flew across the flew across the ocean to see each other before.
Before we met at
away.
Home. Yeah. But it's actually really funny because I don't do a lot of paper crafting anymore, but my season for paper crafting is around, all of October and at the end of November. So my family's from Mexico. So we go really big for Dia de los Muertos. And during that time, it's the time that I make the most paper flowers.
Marigolds.
So it's really funny. Yeah, marigolds. So I'm like, perfect timing to be on the Paper Flower podcast.
Yes.
That's so cool. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about what you do.
Yeah. So like Sarah mentioned, I do a little bit of everything. I would consider my niche sublimation, but even when it comes to sublimation, there are so many blanks that you can create with. So like Sarah mentioned, I do a little bit of everything. So I like to keep my niche really broad because sometimes I get bored of doing the same thing. So it's really fun to be able to make other things. And with that, that's how I started my small business. And since then, I've really been able to bring on so many different techniques for my small business. So I do a little bit of DTF printing now. I do a little bit of embroidery, laser crafting. I'm just all over the place. But at the end of the day, I still do have like a specific niche for my shop that I kind of like to stick to. So even though the types of crafts that I do are broad, at the end of the day, there's like a target audience of customers that I do have.
Who is your target audience?
My shop specializes in party favors. So we do a lot of parties like quinceañeras, bautizos, communions, and we offer party favors. So with sublimation, we're able to offer custom mugs, custom bottle openers. And then I was able to bring in like an eco solvent printer where I offer stickers for events now. And so it's just bringing in different items that people can offer as party favors.
Oh, cool.
Which one is your favorite to do? Like out of all the different things that you do?
I would say sublimation, just because we've been doing that one the longest. So I feel like it comes so much easier to me.
Wait, you're gonna have to you're gonna have to explain what sublimation is for us
Yes.
who don't do any of that.
Yeah. So sublimation requires a sublimation printer and sublimation ink, and then you're able to print a sublimation transfer that then can be applied to different kind of blanks, but they need to be coded for sublimation. So for example, you have like sublimation mugs, you can press onto t-shirts, you can press onto coasters. Really, the possibilities are endless. But it's applied with heat. So then you grab like a regular heat press or a tumbler press or a mug press, and then you press your item, and then the image actually transfers on.
Cool.
What's the difference between that and just regular, just heat transfer?
So heat transfer vinyl, that has texture versus sublimation doesn't have any texture. It actually transfers onto the item.
Oh,
cool.
Yeah.
So then you would have to do all of the lettering or coloring or drawing yourself. Is that right?
Yeah. So you can like buy designs on Etsy. You can create your own templates, or you can create your own designs on Canva or Illustrator. But you do need to have like an image that actually comes together in one file.
Right. That's so cool.
Yeah.
The reason why I said sublimation is tricky is because I heard that like sublimation printers, you actually have to have like maintenance on it, right?
Yeah, you do. So it's kind of crazy because even the temperature will affect your printer. Right. So I've noticed, we're in California, so we don't, really get a huge fluctuation in the weather. But I've noticed during like December and January when it's getting a little colder, my sublimation printer actually starts to act up. So I need to be printing a little more often during those months. But yeah, you need to be printing at least once a week in order for that ink to go through the print head, and actually it basically needs to keep flowing so it doesn't dry up in the print head.
Oh, cool. So how did you get into that? I mean, like, I'm assuming you didn't just like wake up one day and say like, I just want to put stuff on things.
No, we all want to put stuff on things.
That's what you're doing. Yeah.
So I actually started with a Cricut. That's how I got into the crafting world. So back in 2020, during the global shutdown, we were working from home. And I was honestly miserable because I would literally wake up, clock into my 9 to 5, clock out, have dinner, go to sleep, and repeat. And that was it. And I was like, I cannot, keep living like this. It was very sad and very lonely. And so I was like, I need a hobby. What kind of hobby can I pick up? And so that's when I looked back to see like what would make sense for my lifestyle to actually pick up. And I'm the oldest sister of 4. So as you can imagine, I plan everybody's birthday party. I decorate, I create banners. Well, I didn't create them at the time. I would buy them on Etsy. I would buy cake toppers. And I realized that I was spending a lot of money actually buying all of these decorations. So I was like, oh, maybe I can make it. So at the time, TikTok was kind of starting to get really popular. And my sister was like, oh, I've seen people make tutorials on how to use your Cricut on TikTok. You should download the app. And then maybe you can actually decide if you want to purchase it. So I downloaded TikTok. I saw that community was huge. So I was like, oh yeah, I can definitely learn watching everybody else's tutorials. So I bought my Cricut and I started learning. But again, like a big part was the reason why I wanted to pick up a hobby was because I was just really lonely at the time. So I decided to start posting videos, kind of sharing my journey on how I was starting, what I was learning, all the mistakes that I was making with my Cricut. And from there, people started asking me if they could buy the things that I was making. And I was so surprised because that was not the reason why I got online. So for people to say they wanted to buy my crafts, that just made me so happy. So I was like, absolutely, of course. So then that's how I started offering cups with layered vinyl designs. But you can only do that for so long because if you want super colorful images, you need to sit there and cut every single color, layer every single color on the cup, and it just takes time. And from there, I started researching to see if there were other methods that I could still craft from home, but that could help make the process faster. And that's kind of how I discovered sublimation.
Oh, that's so cool. I mean, it's like solving a problem, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You have like finding your way to doing that. That's so, I think it's like for a lot of our listeners, it brings us back to our own processes where we're trying to find a way to create something and we know what our end goal is, but we don't know how to get there. And that journey in itself brings us to so many new tools, so many new techniques, and it really just brings you to a whole new level in terms of what you're trying to do with your art. So that's so cool. I had no idea what sublimation was.
I have a burning question.
Yes.
I know you have a lot of different machines because I've been following you on Instagram. Where do you keep all your machines? Because you not only have the Cricut, the Silhouette, the laser and sublimations. How do you keep it organized? Do you have one studio room that you store everything? And where do you keep all the supplies? Because I'm assuming there's a lot of supplies that goes with each and every machine.
Yeah, definitely. So because I started back in 2020, my husband and I had just bought our house in 2019 and we bought a house in California. So after we bought that house, we were extremely broke and could not furnish a lot of the rooms. So thankfully, our second living room was empty. And at the time I was like, oh, I'm just going to set my Cricut here on a little table. But as I started to craft more, I basically took over and it worked out. And I'm like, just the timing was perfect because if it would have been a few years later, that room probably wouldn't have been empty and it would have been harder to find a space for me. But I have grown so much that I did take over our garage. My poor husband hates it, but I store my laser in there and I store my blanks as well. And I have a bigger format roll-in printer and that one also lives in the garage.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I think I asked her the same question. But yeah, I mean, like continuing on, like I know you mentioned that you started posting on TikTok and that's how you also ended up becoming a content creator, not just, like offering physical products, but also being a content creator. And we had this really long conversation about the idea of being a content creator versus, being a small business owner and actually selling products as well. So it's always this dilemma, both Karina and I, like, do we sell our products and then do we sell our content? And it's always like which one do we focus on? Because it actually changes everything. Because as a content creator, you do also have to focus on creating content that's not technically selling your product. It's just creating content in itself too. And then you also have like the content where you actually market your physical products. So it's like this weird like balance of trying to figure out how do you like target to your audience and your community and things like that. So like, I don't know, how do you balance that? We had this conversation already, but I guess could you share that with our audience as well?
Yeah, of course. So I think that balance has come a little easier to me because I feel like I was able to find a good balance because I share a lot of tutorials. So when I first started, I was sharing my mistakes because, anytime you learn a new craft, there's going to be a lot of mistakes. So I was sharing tutorials. So I actually found that it has helped me balance my content and even has helped me balance the orders that I get into my small business. So basically, I know when my slow season is. So during my slow shop season, I'm able to focus more on creating content and creating tutorials to help others.
And then vice versa, when you have slower content, you're trying to produce physical products so that you can push that out in the next season as well.
Yeah,
I think that's how I work too. And it's hard because I used to tell our audience, take videos of what you're making like for your orders. Because sometimes in the moment when you're actually working on your orders, it's so hard to think other than that. Like, I don't know, it's hard for me to do both now. Because when I'm creating content, it's like sole purpose is to create content. But then when I'm doing orders, my whole purpose is to just finish the order and get that deadline out. Sometimes if it's like a very slow project, then it's nice to like, film yourself do it too. But yeah, I feel like, I don't know, it's all over the place for me too, especially during the holidays because you do have orders and then you don't. And then you also want to create content around your orders. It's hard. We had this conversation. You said that you wanted to focus on more physical products in the new year. Are you still sticking to that?
Yeah. So actually, I just quit my 9-to-5 last November. So I'm going to hit my first year this November. My toddler, she's turning 2 this year. So when I quit my job, she was about 1. And honestly, I thought that I was going to quit my job and I was going to stay home and I was going to have so much time for content and so much time to work on orders. And no, that is not the case at all. My toddler, she had trouble adjusting to me being home. And so I knew that I just wasn't going to be as available to be creating content and creating orders. So what I did this year is I actually focused on content and it was really fun. I got to work with amazing brands, but it was such a roller coaster that I decided that next year I'm definitely, also now that my toddler is a little older and she actually, gives me a little more time, I just decided that I'm going to focus more on my small business next year. I just sometimes with brands, you really never know what's coming when it's coming. And sometimes there's, last minute projects that they want you to work on. And so even though that's really fun, I just feel that when I'm focusing more on my small business, things are more consistent versus a roller coaster, if that makes sense.
It's hard. Yeah. I think the same way for me, like doing your own shop, you have more control over it, right? You could call the shots. You can be the one who takes on the order or not. But when it came with brand deals, it always felt like I always had to say yes, no matter what. And they're picky about it, right? Like they have a lot of little like requirements. So you need to make sure you're following those rules because it's like a real contract between you and the brand. So it's, I don't know. But sometimes it's like also easier to create content compared to like marketing your own product. I feel like a bigger company has a budget for it and you're just kind of marketing their product. Whereas when you're marketing your own product and then if it doesn't do well, it's like heartbreaking. Whereas like if I marketed someone else's brand and it didn't do well, then it's not my fault. I don't know.
No, yeah. Finding that balance is really, really difficult because I mean, even when you're creating content, regardless of whether it's for a brand collab or whether you're trying to promote your product, you really never know what's going to perform well. I've had times where I post a video and I'm like, that is the most beautiful video I've ever created. It's going to do amazing. It's going to go viral. And then it flops,
I know.
Or vice versa.
Right?
Sometimes, sometimes I create a video that I'm like, this is so low quality. I hate it. I didn't like this. It's going to like not perform. What should I even post it? But then you post it anyway, and that's the one that goes viral. And you're like, oh my goodness, you never know.
Yeah, I know. That's totally, the weird algorithm situation right now.
Yeah, exactly.
I saw on your Instagram that you're going to start sharing Saturday business tips. How are you planning that out as another part of your social media content?
Yeah, so I love to do series because I feel like people can keep track and I just feel like it's easier to connect with my audience through series. So I do love to do series. I normally like to do like one series a quarter. So my Small Business Saturday series, that one goes live every January and it goes live through the first quarter of the year. Being a online small business owner can be really isolating sometimes and there's just so many things that you struggle with. I just love sharing that online and kind of being able to give tips to others who are just starting because it's it's really hard and confusing at first. So I really love to share, some of the things that I've learned over the years.
Yeah. Do you have a tip for us?
I would say don't wait for everything to be perfect because it does take a while to get there. I feel like even now, nothing that I do is perfect, right? Like it's all a learning curve, but sometimes wait until that perfect moment or that perfect project. And it's okay to share those mistakes. That's how we learn, by making those mistakes. So I would say don't wait for the perfect moment. Just go out and be yourself and, people will really enjoy that.
Same with content creating. Like I remember when I first started doing my YouTube channel, I didn't know how to edit my videos. So I kept giving it to like a friend that kind of knew how to edit videos. And then so every time I would have to wait for him to like edit my videos and things like that. And then even then I was so critical about how it looked like. And, I wouldn't post it. And then I think like it would go on for like months and months without posting my next video because it wasn't good enough. Right. And then I don't know, I just decided to do it. And it was all like it was like a 30-minute video that I turned into a 3-minute video with no edit. I just fast forwarded, do just the fast version of it. And then I posted it and that's kind of how it started. And it still performs pretty well. I'm really embarrassed because there's no sound because you just fast forward that. I didn't know how to edit my videos whatsoever. And I mean, I'm glad I started though. I think my old self that I even tried and at least learned, and I mean, like when I look back, especially like my old vlogs too, because there was a time where I decided to finally start kind of like sharing just more personal things. It's so cringy to watch. I'm like, oh no, what was I thinking? But I don't want to delete it. I love that I like learned from it, And
yes,
I mean,
definitely.
that goes with everything that we do, even what we make. Like my son just asked me, what's your favorite flower that you made? And I was like, it's always the most recent one because it's the best one that I made.
Yeah, it always gets better.
Yeah.
I actually just started taking YouTube serious this year. I've been wanting to do that for years, but again, same thing. I didn't really know how to edit and I was just so scared because, they're long videos and I don't want people to see poorly edited videos, but I was like, you know what? Like when I started sharing my mistakes, and that's how I was able to grow a community. So it's okay. We're going to learn how to edit eventually. It just takes some time.
It's a good reminder.
Yeah, and
Thank
I
you.
see that you're like really consistent. I feel like you've grown a lot on YouTube too, right?
Yeah, it's actually so crazy because I want to say that during September, I was kind of looking back and I was like, wow, I've spent 9 months on my YouTube channel and I feel like I haven't really gotten anywhere. And it literally just October, November, well, I mean, the month just started, but just in these last 2 months, I have seen so much growth. And I'm like, wow, if I would have stopped in September because I felt like, I wasn't growing enough, I wouldn't be where I am now. And it's just 2 months later, like the difference is huge.
I love that. Yeah.
That is huge.
Do you feel like the community in general is different on YouTube versus Instagram versus TikTok? Because I know you're active on now, all three of them, right?
Yeah, so when I first started, I was really just on TikTok. I didn't really know how to use Instagram. So I would just repost my videos. But then, I think things just changed to where more people started to be active on Instagram. So I'm not as active anymore on TikTok. I'm more active on Instagram. But when I first started, I would create my TikToks and repurpose them for Instagram. But now it's the opposite. Now I create Instagram reels and repurpose them to TikTok. So those are really my two biggest platforms. But this year I decided that I wanted to take YouTube more serious. And it's really been amazing. I feel like, well, I only have about 4,000 followers on YouTube versus like my TikTok has like 500,000 followers. My Instagram has almost 200K. But I just feel like in these 11 months that I've been on YouTube with only 4,000 followers, I feel like the overall engagement has been so much stronger than it has on Instagram and TikTok. And I've been on those platforms for a few years now. And it's crazy.
Yeah, I stress this a lot to our listeners, but my YouTube is probably the strongest on my analytics to when I see my website, like where are they coming from? They all come from YouTube first. And I have the least amount of followers on my YouTube, just like you, right? It's like my Instagram is probably my strongest one, and like Instagram is like second or third on the list on my analytics.
How do you balance curating your audience on each of the platform? Because that takes a lot of time to read the comments, respond to the comment, think about your answer, post it in stories, post it in reels. As a maker, we have to produce so much content out there. And you have a 2-year-old and you're a mom and you're a wife. How do you go about balancing all that and still be sane and still grow your business?
I feel like if you would have asked me this a year ago, I would have probably had a better answer. But I feel like I've actually this year, since I decided to start taking YouTube serious, I've really had to relearn that. And, when I was just on TikTok and Instagram, I feel like it was just short form, right? So at the end of the day, if I was working on a project, I was just filming it for short form. And I feel like because I had been doing that for years, it was so easy. Versus now that I'm adding in YouTube, I feel like this year has been a mess. And it's so funny because I tell people all the time, but they're like, oh, really? We don't notice. And I just feel like this year, I haven't been as active on short form just because YouTube is taking so much of my time. So I'm really still trying to find that balance. What I've found has helped is before, if I was creating one project, I would try to create one project and film it for short form and long form. And I was just struggling so much. So now I create 2 of the same projects so that the first try, I'm just filming it for short form. And then the second try, I'm filming it for long form. And that has really made all the difference.
What kind of camera are you using for the long form?
I actually just upgraded at the beginning of summer, and that too has made a huge difference. So when I started in January, I had a Canon camera, and it was part of, I can't remember what the exact name is, but it's the Canon Creator Bundle. And when I first purchased that camera, I was so hesitant because I didn't know what the right camera for YouTube was. So I was using that for a little bit, but I just found that I was struggling so much because I'm so used to filming short form videos with my iPhone to where I just put my iPhone on the tripod and start filming. And, that's pretty much it. Versus with my Canon camera, I actually had to pull out a tripod. I had to put the camera on there. I had to zoom in. I had to figure out lighting. And it was just taking me so long that by the time I was ready to actually start filming, I was so overwhelmed and so irritated that I didn't want to actually create for YouTube, if that makes sense. So over the summer, I actually purchased an Osmo Pocket 3 camera, and that has just made a huge difference for me because I feel like it's so similar to the iPhone where You literally just turn it on and you can start filming. I don't have to like worry about angles or lighting or any of that. It has made it so much easier that I'm actually able to put out more videos. So when I started in January, I was only posting once a week, but now in the last few months, I've actually been able to up it to 2, sometimes 3 videos a week.
How long does it take you to edit these videos?
It really depends. When I started in January, I remember it took me 3 hours to edit a 2-minute video. I was so
3
overwhelmed.
hours?
Yeah, it was crazy. I like finished and I was like ready to give up. I was like ready to cry. I was like, I cannot do this. But now I feel like I don't know exactly how long, but I think now it's a lot faster.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
So when you create the content, do you have like a vision in mind in terms of what you're going to do? Or do you have storyboards? Or do you like write anything down? Do you plan anything out? Do you plan your shots?
So normally I just have a project in mind. I don't have like shots planned. I will say though, for YouTube, I always have a script ready before I actually film, because if not, it'll be a complete mess.
Yeah.
So I do have scripts ready for YouTube videos, but overall, it's really just an idea of a project.
Okay.
How do you go about writing a script? Because I know a lot of our listeners are trying to get into YouTube and they're like, I think they have the same problem you did, where they're trying to figure out the equipment, trying to figure the angle, trying to figure out how to edit. But I feel like if you do have a script that you know what's going to happen next and next, what's your process on that?
I always like to have the idea of my title and thumbnail before I have the script. That way it can help guide me. That way I know like what the end result needs to be. And then I write down a list of like the topics that I need to cover. For example, if it's a tutorial for a sublimation printer, I know I need to cover like maintenance. I know I need to cover setup, maybe color settings. So I kind of write all of that out before I actually get to writing the script.
Oh, cool. And where do you get your ideas from? Like, I mean, it sounds like, you do some tutorials, you do some projects, but where do you get those ideas from?
That is a good question. I think they just come to me. Sometimes I do go out and, look to see what's trending. But honestly, I've been doing this for so long that I kind of already have a content calendar. So normally for the last 2 months of the year, like usually around this time, November, December, I start planning next year's content. And I just find that easier for me. That way I can plan out what months am I teaching what series, what months am I focusing on selling, or what life events do I have, I would consider myself a crafty lifestyle content creator because so much of what I create revolves around what's happening in my life. So for example, this year, I actually baptized my baby. And so I created a ton of content around that. My mom turned 50. I was able to create so many projects around that. So I think just really planning out in advance, that's what really helps.
Yeah, for sure. The planning definitely gives you some, some clarity and some stability. I mean, I can only imagine having to balance your life with all these other things that are going on. You just sometimes want to just go into your studio, do the video, edit, publish, and then next
Move on to the next one.
Yeah. Otherwise, I actually think that the ideas are the most difficult. I mean, ideas are, that's where you can be creative. That's what makes one person different from the other. What makes your channel more unique than someone else's. So that's why I often wonder about where do you get your ideas? Where is it just solving a problem? Is it your inspiration? I assume that you do swap out ideas or content when appropriate, when something, inspiration strikes.
Exactly. Yeah. If something comes up, definitely I'll switch it up. So I do have a calendar, but it's flexible, but I think it also helps me stay on track because, for the holidays, you have to plan so in advance. And if I don't write it down, it just won't happen. So keeping the calendar really helps.
So true. I think this is a Quinn question, but what kind of planner do you use?
Yes, I was about to ask that. You beat me.
You guys are going to make fun of me, but I actually just have it all in Excel.
Okay.
So,
Really?
yeah. I was an auditor. That was my 9 to 5. So I'm a numbers girly. So I'm I still use Excel for everything.
I love that. That's how you're able to grow your
daunting,
business.
I feel like. I don't want to look at that. I'm usually a very visual person, so I like my my planner or my organizer, my calendar. I want it to be cute, so I could look at it.
You want to look at it.
Yeah, no, my Excel would
if I have to
probably
look
be
at
very
an Excel
scary.
sheet, I'm like, I don't want to look at it. Oh, but I mean, that's so you. I mean, and it is funny that you went from being an auditor to being a crafty content creator. Were you always creative though? When you were growing up, but then you ended up
growing
becoming an
up.
auditor.
Yeah, right. So growing up, so we grew up very poor. We grew up very low income. And so my mom had to DIY everything, right? So I think that's where everything kind of came from, to where I was so accustomed to DIYing everything for everybody's birthday. So I feel like that was always a part of me. And I think that's why I've been able to grow my business, because it's like, it's part of my lifestyle. It's what I would be doing anyway. Like if I was still at my 9 to 5 and I wasn't a content creator, I would still be DIYing something for someone's birthday.
Yeah. And actually, I feel like that's when you can be truly creative with your resources, right? I feel like I grew up the same kind of, I didn't get any Barbie dolls or anything like that. That was like my dream, right? The only Barbie doll I had was like the ones that came out in a Happy Meal. And that was like a treat just once, right? And so I had to be really creative in figuring out how to make my own dolls. So I used to use like chopsticks and paper towels, and the paper towel would be like the outfit for my pretend doll. But when I think of my past self, I'm like, wow, that was very creative, right?
Yeah,
and I mean, like these kids these days, I feel like they got, better Happy Meals now than we did when we were younger. Yeah, I mean, they just have so many more resources now. But like, I think not having that also gives you that like creative, like ability, right? You almost have to be.
Definitely.
Yeah. When I'm doing my son's project, I'm like, oh, he's so lucky he has a crafty mom like me. And then I'm doing the whole project.
I can imagine.
I am an introvert, but I ended up like taking my step out of my like comfort zone to be able to like network with people. And that's so important. And we kind of stress that a lot on our mastermind, just the idea of having community, building community, and networking. And Karina, you're like so much better at it than me too. Because I feel like you were like out and about. I mean, clearly you were out in Hawaii at a whole like conference, even when you just had your baby. What was kind of like the key like thing? Like, why was that important to you? Even after you just had a baby, you're like, I'm going to go to the conference and be able to meet people.
Yeah, so it's really funny because I'm also an introvert and I'm really shy and I just get so nervous to be in front of people. So I think what's really helped me is that it was really my 9 to 5, because I was an auditor, and as an auditor, networking is so important. So that was actually my biggest goal after I quit my 9 to 5, was like, okay, this year I'm going to be everywhere, because that's really where opportunities come from. That's where you grow amazing friendships. So that was really my goal this year. And I was like, wow, it actually worked out, because I feel like I was everywhere. And it was so much fun because I got to meet so many amazing people.
She went from Japan to Miami. Is that where you went? Florida? Like in the week.
Yeah. So I got home on Saturday, and then on Tuesday I was on a flight to Miami.
Oh, wow.
Wow. How did you deal with jet lag? That's a huge
it was so bad. I was like, so the event in Miami it was Ricoma's Summit, and they're an embroidery distributor. So they sell embroidery machines. So I actually have had my embroidery machine for quite some time, but the learning curve is crazy. And I really love to learn in person, like being hands-on. So I was like, there's no way I can miss this event, because I'm just going to learn so much from it. So that really helped keep me awake, because I was like, I actually need to be paying attention. I need to learn this. But oh man, anytime there was a break, I would sneak away to my hotel room and take a quick nap.
For sure.
Yeah.
Those things can be so draining. I mean, like as an introvert, like events like that can be quite draining, even though it doesn't appear as it. I mean, even to be honest, teaching for 3 hours, like at the end of it, I'm pretty drained. And it's just...
I don't want to talk to anyone after.
Yeah, you don't. You don't.
Don't talk to me.
I need my own space.
Yes. Could we like talk a little bit more about like why you think that's important though? Like even though as an introvert to actually go out and network is important.
Yes, but overall, I just think networking is so important because so many opportunities come out of it, like the amount of people that you get to meet, the amount of experiences that come from networking. I feel like it's really important. Like whether you're a small business owner, a content creator, or just a crafter, networking, I feel like makes a huge difference.
I think part of it is also feeling like not alone. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, like you said, you are often in your home studio recording and publishing, and that's it.
Yeah.
But, having a sense of community, knowing that other people are doing similar things or are just interested in what you're doing. Like, I'm sure, I don't know if your husband understands what you're doing. I'm sure he does, to be so supportive, but at the same time, it's not the same.
No. And so like even Sarah, like even though we got to meet in Irvine in Japan, just actually going out and getting coffee with her and being able to talk about everything, having somebody who understands, I feel like that helps. It just helps you feel less alone. But even then, I feel like it inspires you and kind of gives you more room for creativity.
Oh, yeah. Because you inspire each other.
Yeah.
And that is what makes things more exciting because you're like, oh, have you tried this technique? Have you thought of this idea? I love it when I get to meet Jessie or Sarah and we get to talk about paper flowers and we're planning a big workshop and it's just kind of like, oh, what if we did this and that? And that's the energy that I love that our community brings to what we're doing and growing.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. Going back to something you said about YouTube having better engagement. I mean, other than numbers, when you speak of engagement, are you speaking about people leaving comments or reaching out to you or seeing your work? What about YouTube has sort of made you want to shift your focus to YouTube this year?
I think really just the connections that I'm able to build with my followers. I feel like they get to know me a lot better and I'm able to just provide more information and more help. So I want to say that's probably what makes a difference. But overall, in terms of comments, like I don't maybe necessarily get more comments that I would on TikTok or Instagram, but it's just the things they're saying or the things they're asking that are so detailed, or it's like, wow, you really put a lot of time into leaving this comment versus, I don't know, maybe on Instagram, so much is automated that if they have a question, they just comment link and it's like, I don't really get to interact with them anymore. Versus on YouTube, they're like, oh, hey, I'm doing this and I'm having trouble with this and I tried this and I tried that. Like, what do you think? And it's like, oh, wow. Like, I think it's just really that connection.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
I feel like someone watching, 8-minute video of like spending a whole 8 minutes for me and that view count, even if it's like way less than, our view count on our Instagram or on our TikTok, right? But like that means so much more than someone watching like a 30-second video, like
for sure.
probably in the bathroom or something,
Yeah,
exactly. But like if you're actually watching my YouTube video, I feel like it means way more to me.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I think even when it comes to brand partnerships, I've gotten so many requests to, partner up on YouTube. And it's so crazy to me because I only have 4,000 followers versus like on TikTok and Instagram. I don't think those partnership inquiries came until, I was like, I guess, until I had more followers.
Comparing those kind of brand collaborations on YouTube, like creating content for YouTube versus Instagram and TikTok, what to you is more, I suppose, worthwhile?
In terms of partnerships?
In terms of partnerships and the content that you actually create.
So I think that even though, there's more connection in long form content, I think that brands still spend more ad money on short form. So I wouldn't say that I've seen the difference with YouTube yet, but I think it's really just that they focus on short form.
I can see as a content creator that short form really, it might not be as fulfilling to some extent. I mean, even as creators that aren't content creators, I mean, doing short form is so, I don't know, it's like, it's a snippet. It's a preview, preview of the actual work that goes into it and the actual like real content. So I can see how YouTube can be a lot more fulfilling to create, to watch too, to be honest.
Yeah.
Short form is just, it's one thing to watch a preview of something, another to like just flip through it literally 15 seconds and your attention like kind of goes crazy. But with YouTube, there's something beautiful about watching beautiful content, actually. Just scrolling through somebody's channel because they create beautiful content. And it does change your life. While like short form, I find it's so minimal that it's like you kind of want more. And I suppose that's why you would go into somebody's YouTube channel is to see more.
Yeah, that actually kind of reminds me. I think one of the questions was, how can artists balance giving value to their community while protecting their time and energy? So I remember back when, I was extremely active on TikTok, it would be so overwhelming for me because most of my tutorials come in a series, right? Because I can't squeeze how to make a mug in a whole 30 seconds, right? Like I couldn't answer all the questions. So it was really draining because I would get messages of, at first people would be nice, like, oh, when's part two? When's part two? But at some point it would feel like they were demanding that I put out more. And it was so hard for me to find a good balance in between like helping others and then just being completely overwhelmed because I'm over here like, oh no, I have to go with part 2 and part 3 and I need to hurry. Versus with YouTube, it's like, well, yes, it takes me the whole week, but I can sit there and explain every single thing to you so that there's no information missing. Nobody's angry on the other side and wondering when the rest is going to come up. So I feel like YouTube's really helped with that. And now too, I can always start posting part 1 of a series and just say, hey, if you don't want to wait, the full tutorial is over on YouTube. So, it's really helped.
So sort of using your content more than once as well.
Yes, definitely.
I love that. All right. Now to our favorite part of our particular episodes where we ask you, what have you purchased in the past few weeks that's been under $20 that you have loved and brings you joy? Does anyone want to go first?
I'll go first because I have one ready. It's going to be the good old pumpkin pie from Costco. I know it's just
yes, that's a good
it's
one.
So
That's
cheap.
a good one.
I mean, and it's so big and it's just the best pumpkin pie ever. We've already had it 3 times in the past.
Already?
Since, I don't know when it came out, but like the first day it came out, we went and got it. And then I don't even know how the 3 of us finished that whole pie before it goes bad, but we did. And then we did it 3 times after that. So now we're sick of it. We don't want it for Thanksgiving.
It's a lot.
But that's my under $20. Well, under $20. Still worth it.
$20. Yeah.
I will contribute next. Trader Joe just released their dry figs that's been dipped in dark chocolate. It's from Italy and they only come out for and it sells out so fast. So right after Halloween, they release it in this beautiful box and it's so, so good. If you love dry figs, it's so good. You have to go find it and try it.
Okay, so mine is not a food object. They're reusable water balloons. So like 2 weeks ago, I went to Mexico and in preparation for that, I bought on Amazon these balloons, or they're not balloons, they're balls, these silicone balls where you can fill it with water and they just magnetically, they have magnetics on them and they just snap together. And the cool thing is that you can throw them, the kids can throw them and they won't really hurt because they just kind of explode in your face. Or you can have them filled up and they'll sink in the water. So they could be sinkies as well. So for the kids, it's super fun because there's something really tactile about something that's jiggly. And what ended up happening was they ended up linking all of them together. Something adults would never think would happen, but they ended up linking them all together, making 4s and 5s and trying to do all these weird things. But it was the best spend because now I have them. I can always bring them to the pool every time and not worry about anybody getting hurt or anything like that. But I think they're called reusable water balloons, something along those lines. Yeah. Remember they were way under $20 as
That's
well.
a good one.
That's awesome. I'll have to get that for my nephews and niece.
Yeah, I swear they'll love them. You can play them in the pool or outside of the pool. Either way, they are, they're not messy. They're nice and compact and they're perfect.
Perfect.
That's awesome. I actually just bought my toddler these very cute slippers. They're knockoff Uggs and she loves them and they're so cute.
Oh, I love it when the baby girls or toddlers wear adult clothing in small sizes. It's so adorable.
It's so cute.
So cute.
They're under $20.
I wish they would make adult sizes for us.
Yeah. I got them on the TikTok shop, so they were only $10.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I have
deal.
dupes too, for myself. They're expensive.
Yes.
Even if they're
They
knockoffs.
I actually just bought some for myself too, and they were only $12 on the TikTok shop.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, I need to look on there.
I'll send you the link.
Karina, thank you so much for joining us. I feel like our audience have learned so much, especially about making social media content, also balancing a very, very busy life. And I can't wait for people to follow you on Instagram. It's Crafty Kari. It's underscore, right? Crafty underscore Kari. Kari.
Underscore. Yes. That's on Instagram. And then on TikTok, it's Crafty Kari. No underscore.
Perfect. And then on YouTube?
On YouTube, it is Crafty Kari underscore.
Perfect.
TikTok that doesn't have an underscore. I was early on there.
Nice.
Well, thank you so much for having me. This was so much fun.
No, it was great to have you. Thank you. Thank you for taking the time to be on our show.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.